the bottom line is that we've talked about it before, Alex, that has the content changed or just the way it's presented? I mean, the content was the same in the 80s. You killed things, or you discovered things, or you raced things, and that's about it.
I mean, I seem to remember the first time, I can't remember what game it was, but it would have basically been something on an Atari where you have, chopped someone's head off, or some kind of ridiculously, sort of 8-bit kind of graphic that you've, and at the time you sort of thought, that's so cool and gory, and I'm sure at the time there would have been outrage over the fact that a game would let you do something, and it's obviously a cartoon, and I think that's perhaps something that reflects on what where we're at now as well, isn't it? That even something like Grand Theft Auto, they still look like cartoon, as realistic as the graphics get. They still ultimately look like a very well rendered cartoon, not like real life.
I guess I'm somewhat of a hypocrite, and I guess kind of criticizing other people for being so shocked when stuff like that is in modern games, but there's still some subjects that I would find quite shocking. I have to think that some years ago when a movie would cover a subject of just surveying the ages of people, say indecent assault, that in a movie years and years ago there would be shock, but it happens now in movies, but for that to happen in a game, I don't know, when I'm older, I don't know if I want to see that in a game. The level of interactivity with that, I'm kind of on both sides with that one.
Scarily, I can think of an 80s game that features exactly that.
I'm sure there's some Japanese ones there.
No, it was an Atari game. I think that's exactly what it is. General Custer's Revenge. Custer's Revenge. Yes.
We won't go any further.
Yeah. But maybe let's sort of head off on another tangent for a moment, on the sort of social side of things, which has come up already. I think this is one of the areas that then leads into who plays games. There's not as much gaming that's about passing the controller around as there used to be, and I wonder if that's something that do we think that style of gaming, whether it is coming back a little bit, or is it that that everything, the emphasis is about online socialisation in games? I think that's probably one of the significant areas in terms of how things are changing, but where where families might play together, where friends might play together, and where the obviousness of people playing games as a social experience comes into it. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I had I've always had some sort of social aspect to my gaming. There was the passing the controller back in the day, and then when I got into Counter-Strike and stuff like that, I still went to the net cafe, but that was only until I got broadband, and then I was like, yeah, all right, now I can just stay at home. That's I think you're definitely right on that one. And with World of Warcraft and stuff like that, I think a lot of people see that as a social activity, and that's fine. But yeah, it's certainly not the same.
But I think arguably the field's kind of broadened. The one thing that we've lost from gaming, I would say, is the arcade kind of putting your 20 cents on the glass to say that my turn's next. But the whole field of gaming, I think, is broadened. Yes, online is there, but equally there are millions of people whose gaming experience involves playing Wii Sports bowling and nothing more, and that is very much a pass the controller kind of game. And there's space enough in gaming now to encompass both. I tend to think the online thing can have a tendency, not exclusively, but can have a tendency to be a bit antisocial.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Because you're by yourself. And even because a lot of games are now being built with only the online component in mind, or with the online component being the arguably best part. And if you wanted to do a, in the same room, pass the controller or share the whole kind of experience, they just don't do it anymore. I want to be heavy on this something to you. If you look at Telltale Games as a league, Take Society as a league, I grew up in the 60s and 70s, and we were taught to share or we could get money. I don't know what the kids who grew up in the 80s and 90s got taught, but have we gone through a cycle where we shared, we all crowded around the arcade or the old console and passed the turns because we had to, because mum and dad didn't buy us to, because they couldn't afford it. Or there was only one Phoenix machine in the arcade that everyone could play. And we've gone through the stage where everyone's got a PC, everyone's got its two controllers and all that. And now we're coming out the other side where you're bringing in the different people, different demographics to play Wii bowling. So it's not just gamers who are playing, it's everyone else. And so you have to pass it. Yes,
is the technology and the way the games are being created forcing us back to sharing? Is that there, or am I just talking?
No, I think totally. In games like that, they're even, I don't know about you, but I don't even mind watching someone play, you know? Like watching someone else take their turn, that's fun for me.
It takes me back to in the arcade. You crowd around and you encourage or stir whoever's playing out of friends. Oh, that was a really bad move, or he killed you. Next, and it comes back to playing, Olympics or Wii Sports, wherever it is, and oh, that was a strike, or whatever. Oh, no, that was a gutter ball. It really brings that interaction. It's not just interaction of your characters; it's interaction with the people.
Yeah.
Just like in the Wii ads.
Yeah. Wow.
But they've used that advertising for years. If you look at the back of like, an Atari 2600 box, it's mum, it's dad, everyone's got a controller and they're sitting there.
Even if it's a single player game, everybody's.
That should be one thing we talk about. The 80s movies where the gamer is moving around like this.
And you get the close-ups on the eyes.
I still see it today. I saw an episode of Heroes where the guy was clearly playing Halo. And they edited like some Space Invaders sound effects to it. So it's like, he's carrying the assault rifle, killing the Covenant, and it's like, our understanding of game.
I think to get sort of slightly really deep into one sort of question here, something I've been thinking about lately on this whole social thing, particularly the idea of games being watchable, not just playable, but being watchable by other people in the room, where, you might not be passing the controller very often, if at all. But yeah, I think Uncharted 2 was one of those games that last year, I think a lot of people felt like you could play it, and even if you weren't the person in control, it was fun because it was so cinematic. Something I've been thinking about is whether, open world games and sort of games where you're encouraged to go and explore and find lots of extra things, whether they actually are causing a bit of a problem in this social side of things because they're totally boring to watch. If you're just randomly driving around, or I'm just going to run into some houses at random because there might be a box and I need to collect 100 boxes. That's pretty boring to watch, but it's fun to play. But it doesn't really play well in the idea of it's a way to add, make a game feel like it's worth 100 hours of playing time. But if 60 of those hours are just watching somebody run and do nothing in particular, it's not a very social experience.
I don't know, I think boring is a bit in the eye of the beholder there. I mean, 25 years ago, my older brother watched me play through most of Outer Hills. I probably couldn't get the kids to do that now, but now people will download StarCraft matches online, and frankly, I'll probably get killed for this later. I can't think of anything more tedious than watching StarCraft. But that's me. But I think it depends on which audience you're trying to engage.
Yeah, that's a fair point. I know my wife actually has said she's enjoyed watching Assassin's Creed type, where I am just running because there's actually a beauty to the movement in the game itself. So maybe you're right.